So let's look at the root chakra and place. When we are not valuing the feminine, what happens is we move a lot because we're thinking of outer adventure, outer security, and we're really not believing that community is that important. What? Community? Not that important. Yeah, so there's this like constant moving, and then the kids don't have like any sense of growing up in a village that knows them. And the woman, especially, has nobody to really rely on to help her raise the kids. She's got to pay for everything, for childcare, to hang out, to go to a yoga class, to meet women or a women's group. It all costs money. It's just not real community. So our masculine nature will say, yes, but I got a better career option. So the whole family must come with me because money is most important. Money is God. That'll give us all opportunities. Instead of seeing the opportunity in connectedness to community and rootedness in time and space that you know and knows you. The other thing is, we start thinking in terms of acquisitions of properties without really being in touch with what it means to know the rocks, the mountains, the rivers around you, and the deep relationship that humans begin to have over time when you're really rooted in a place, in a town, in a village, and how that moves you emotionally daily when you're really connected in with that nature space. So there'll be a thing of being indoors a lot, not going out and connecting with nature, not actually even knowing any of the trees or mountains or paths or riverways or the spirituality of the nature around you, the history of the rocks, the ancient places where glaciers came through. There'll be no connection. And there'll be this sort of a gypsy vagabond thing of just moving depending on whatever job has come your way. Constantly doing that. And then there'll be a loneliness because every town, you have to rebuild all your relationships. And the belief that money buys power isn't really real because power comes out of connections. Connectedness. This is why men are so much more powerful in the world financially than women, is because they know this and they share their connections and they pass on that through the old boys network. They pass on jobs to other men, so there you go. So we want to explore and look at at what point are you going to land? At what point are you going to commit to a place? And the fear of that is, oh, I'll have no freedom, or I'll find a better place, or someday we'll go to Hawaii, or a place where it's warmer. Well, I would suggest think of that in terms of vacations and traveling, that yes, you'll create a life where in wintertime or certain parts of the year you go explore other parts of the world. But when the masculine doesn't care about your having real home and real depth in a place and real connection to the nature, it gets really lonely. It gets lonely after a while, and you get this feeling like, why don't I ever really have friends? Why don't I really ever, what happened to my family? Why don't my kids want to live with me when they get older or near me? It's because you moved so much. They have no connection to the land or the place or the house, any of it. It's random. So here you go. That is something to think about. Okay, let's feel on what it's like in the root chakra when we have defeminized the root, and we know the root is woman, the root is earth, the root is home, the root, you can't defeminize the root. But let's look at what happens to food when it's rootless. When food is rootless and you don't even care about the soil, it's of course trashy food. It's not organic, and it's what people are doing when their masculine nature is sublimating the feminine in the root chakra, is that food is fast. Food is not shared together. Food is bought and made ready-made in many kinds of packaging. There's just not time for creating food, for one thing, because all the time and effort is going towards money making in a career, which is supposed to give you happiness, but you don't ever get to have that joy of actually hanging out and cooking, really cooking, ongoing, often amazing, wonderful meals together. Or if you do put all that effort in, the family will come running through, grab some, and not want the ritual of eating together. The ritual of eating together and cooking together is lost when the masculine has taken over the feminine chakra. It's so tragic, and it creates depression because the food choices become shabbier and shabbier, more about instant fixes to help with the lonely depression that comes without sharing meals. You know, it's sad. You often say, well, I just don't have the energy to cook for myself all alone. And that's a really real thing, because when you cook for people, you can go for hours with the joy that you're going to have when you see their faces eat. You know, and that's the other thing that happens. The medicinal cabinet, the herbal cabinet in the kitchen goes away, because this is also the domain of health. The root chakra is also health. So what happens is pharmaceutical companies take over the woman's domain of keeping her family healthy. And all of these wonderful remedies that we used to have, incredible amounts of remedies we had for our families, of herbs and teas and soups and, traditions of what you do when there's a fever, it all it disappeared. And now we're in the hands of all of these people trying to make money off of us, not heal us, who have poisons to give us to kill the illness rather than nourishing herbal medicine, which builds strength and builds power and returns you to your health, and actually deals with the root cause rather than covering over the problem, covering over symptoms, which is what Western medicine is so good at. So, I mean, I'm all for the blessings of Western medicine, of course, the miracles of surgeries and all these sort of things. And when you're in a life-threatening situation, I love it. But daily maintenance of the body and of health, this is what's been lost when the masculine takes over the root chakra. He says, everything connected to the roots of the earth is evil, is bad, is dangerous, is stupid. It doesn't matter. It's baby stuff compared to our big poisonous medicine that we're going to give you hundreds of side effects and you're going to charge you for, So the witches that were burned, I think it's like, one number I heard is like 6 million women over 700 years. And their children and their husbands, anybody connected to them that they loved, were all murdered, burned at the stake for being healers, for being sexy healers, also connected to what they called sorcery, witchcraft, which is really them being in touch with nature in such a way that they had powerful results with their prayers and their potions and their rituals because of being so deeply connected with nature. Oh my goodness. So we've lost, when the masculine takes over the feminine root chakra, you lose natural medicine. You lose the simple way to keep your family whole and together that doesn't cost a dime. Just it will cost a little, maybe you grow some things. You'll also stop growing your own foods and shopping at the markets near you and the farmers near you and employing them to feed you. Okay, got that picture. Whoa, so sad. Oh, we're going to get you to the other. This is the negative part. But when we get to the positive part, woo, it's really freeing because it's very simple to bring in the feminine, bring her back. It's simple and it's wonderful and it's integrative and it's natural and it's like, oh, of course I need to do these things. No brainer. Okay, let's talk about, in the root chakra, the emotional realm of the root chakra being about security and feeling safe together and well loved. When we have relationships with absolutely no vows and no intentions other than we're just hanging out, what happens is the relationship becomes a relationship of two men. Now, why is this? You have a beautiful woman there. How can I say that? Well, because when a woman has the sacred boundary of commitments and vows of some kind, it doesn't have to be marriage vows, it doesn't have to be that long term, but she needs some kind of commitments going on in terms of a future, in terms of the present time and what they're doing and why. When she has that, she can surrender into feminine energy, because that is masculine energy containing the feminine with his boundary of protection, protective energy to the feminine and service to her. So when you have no commitments and no vows, you have all these relationships where people just sort of fall into place. Like, oh yeah, we're hanging out. What? And the guy will be like, I don't need a marriage. What do I need a wedding for? I'm happy. Of course he's happy. He's getting everything on his terms. He's getting cooked for. He's getting somebody to help him with all of the chores. He's got sex. And he's giving her, the feminine, nothing that she needs other than a little companionship. No, companionship is what the masculine in the woman needs. Women need companionship, yes, but that's the masculine aspect of her that wants a buddy. The feminine aspect of her wants a lover and a husband, not just a buddy. So the whole thing about courtship that we used to have would be a whole long phase of people sharing their intentions and checking out, well, do we have similar intentions? Can I get to where I want to get in my life with this person? Let me feel this out, because we're actually talking agreements and intentions. How long do we want to be together? How do we want to live together? Those are things that get worked out, but they're still not the same thing as vows and commitments that happen in public. So although I have a lot of wariness about marriage and all of the laws that do not support the feminine once you're married, I do feel that the ritual in public, that's where you invoke the divine to come in and bless your union, and your community to acknowledge your union and support you in it, this gives the woman enormous power, because otherwise she's not acknowledged as anyone important. She always feels marginal. She feels afraid if she gets pregnant. If she gets pregnant before a wedding, she feels like she's not really loved. The guy's marrying her because he has to take care of a kid. There's less sacredness in terms of her feeling honored and loved as the chosen woman. And she knows she's going to sacrifice a lot more than him usually in terms of her time, energy, and body. And so for him not even to do a wedding or vows with her, agreements that are committed, means that she's just hanging in there like a buddy until what? Until what? So years go by, and this is supposed to be so great because we love each other so much we don't need anything. Well, he doesn't need anything, but if you really check